Cool. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Set the Pipe. Good one today. I'm Sully. I'm here with CK. And then there's Bear. And our East Coast guy, DDT, Dave DeTinley's here with us tonight. So we have with us Dr. Anitra Brockman. Welcome to Set the Pipe.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much for having me.
It's going to be
so
awesome.
happy to have you. Thanks for coming and taking the time to talk to us and tell us your story. I think it's a great one, and I'm excited for our listeners to just hear about it and hear about the growth of men's volleyball. We talk about women's volleyball on here quite often. It's exciting to talk about men's volleyball.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, East Coast, we go straight to Dave DeTinley. He's going to get your bio in for us as well as our fans out there and our listeners. So, Dave, take it away.
Thank you. Dr. Brockman, please correct anything I've got here. I did a bunch of research on you, and I hope you don't mind us sharing it with the audience.
Not at all.
All right. In June of 2024, Dr. Brockman, Anitra Brockman, became the head coach of the University of Maryland Eastern Shore men's volleyball program, a brand new Division I men's program for this year. Just started. Prior to that, she was the men's and women's coach at Central State University starting in 2022. Let's go back to Ohio for a short amount of time. You coached at, is it Baden High School?
Yes.
Baden? Okay. Baden High School in Hamilton, Ohio, leading the boys volleyball team to their first ever OHSBVA state championship in 2022. And she had prior roles coaching the Summit Country Day girls volleyball team as well. So far, so good?
Yes.
Okay. So as far as leadership and contributions to the broader game, she's served as the president of the Ohio High School Girls Volleyball Coaches Association, as well as the Ohio High School Boys Volleyball Association. She was awarded in 2020 the AVCA Diversity Award. And interestingly, guys, this is our second guest who has won USA Volleyball's Robert L. Lindsay Meritorious Service Award.
Awesome.
Podcast here. She was named OHSBVA Coach of the Year, the Greater Catholic League Co-Ed Coach of the Year, and Cincinnati Enquirer's People to Watch list in 2022. She's earned her degrees in undergrad and master's degree in human resources from American Intercontinental, and in 2024 earned her doctorate in sports and athletic management from National University. Dr. Anitra Brockman, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Cool.
Wow.
Okay, did I get everything right? I mean, for the most part.
Well,
You did.
you know,
Okay.
I ask this to everyone, and your resume is amazing, and it's different than others, and it's just great to hear. When you hear that and you sit back and listen to what you've accomplished, you know, how do you feel, and what does it make you think when you hear that kind of stuff?
You know, I'm a pretty humble person, so I don't like hearing any of my accomplishments or accolades. But I will tell you, I think when I started coaching, you know, my journey's just a little unorthodox from most people. I didn't play at a high level. You know, I played 7th and 8th grade, and parents made me choose. So softball was it for me. I was pretty good at softball, but
I'm a big
you
fan,
know,
by the way. I'm a huge fan of softball.
That's awesome.
oh, loved it. I was a cleanup hitter too. So,
Oh,
Nice.
nice. Hitting the dingers, baby.
but yeah, I think for me, when I first started, it was really just a passion. Ideally, I was just trying to fill my extra time and, you know, fill time with my kids, get them involved. And then I think once I started seeing that the coaches that they had just weren't into it and passionate about it, they were just really there to, in my terminology, collect the check.
I was going to
Just
say,
there to
give
collect
it
the
We
check.
say the same thing.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, and so it was frustrating to me. It's like here you have these group of kids that are passionate about this sport, but then they have a coach that isn't. And so I think once I started becoming a student of the sport and learning more about it, and really then understanding, then it was like, okay, I want to do this full time. And I don't think college came up initially until I started doing well at the high school level. And then I thought, can I do this at the college level? You know, and then especially when you're around people that have been doing this for years and been playing the sport for years, you have doubts and you second guess. And I think for me,
Sure.
it didn't matter if I got X amount of awards. I still had doubts and second guessed myself. But I think, as I started gaining more knowledge and then surrounding myself with, I call them goats, just surrounding myself with goats, people that were more
Mentors.
experienced in the game. That really gave me the confidence and boost that I needed to say, you know what, I can do this dang thing. I can do it. I'm gonna stick to it, and I'm all about developing young people, and I'm passionate about it. So,
Who are your mentors?
Alan Knipe was one.
Oh, no kidding.
I know that
Yes.
guy.
Yeah, he's a good
We
friend
kind
of
of know him a little
I
bit.
know
Yeah.
you kind
Friend
of
of the
know him,
podcast.
Yeah,
right?
kind of know him.
Kind
Yeah.
of know him.
It's not
Nick
too shocking
Vogel.
to hear that's who
That's
he was.
rad. I got to.
No,
How did it come?
interesting story. So Central State, when we played Long Beach, I was a nervous wreck,
Oh, I
not
bet.
about playing them, about
Yeah.
meeting Coach Knipe. I was so excited. I was fangirling. I was
Oh, funny.
fangirling. And I thought, I need to find a way to be able to sit down and have a conversation with him when the game was over. And I mean, I didn't even have to find a way. They fed us after the game. And then just open door, come on in.
He's
What are
great.
some challenges? And then I explained to him some of the challenges I was facing being there at Central and just some of the things we faced being at an HBCU. And
Mhm.
he was like, is that your administrator with you? And I said, yes. And he said, do you care if I go out there and talk to your team about what we just talked about and ways to grow? And I said, absolutely, please. And
That's
he
rad.
did. He went out there, and the whole time he's talking, I'm shaking my head, looking at my admin, like, you getting all this? You getting all this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then, from that conversation, it led to, he said, hey, send an email out to all of these teams saying, please come play us. He said, because if we're willing to come play you, and UCLA was also playing HBCUs too. He's like,
Mhm.
it's not going to mess up the schedule. So he
Right.
said, send an email, put my name in it. And I did. And, unfortunately, I didn't get to stick around Central State to see the benefits of, I think UCLA came and played there last
Yeah.
year.
Okay.
And then Long Beach is coming to play there this next season. So
With the new
it
coach.
just communicating with Coach Knight, Pav at Penn State has been
Yeah.
amazing. Rummy at St. Francis has been amazing. Birch at Ohio State. And then Nick Vogel, before he left the men's side at UCLA this past year, he being in season, he would take time to get on a Zoom with me. We would meet maybe twice a month and just talk about men's volleyball. And he was like, what's your idea? What are your ideas? What are things you want to implement? And he would talk me through things, and it really helped me. So having those mentors was very beneficial, especially building here at UMES. But overall, for me in my career, has been beneficial because all that doubt that I had, talking to people who have been in the game for a long time,
Mhm.
and them saying, "Hey, you're not far off. Like, you're where you need to be. You're not far off. Here's some things maybe you might want to tweak." Having that insight is so valuable.
What,
So, go ahead, Bear.
yeah. What's it like being a woman coaching men's? Okay, because
That's the same question.
I'm a man. I've coached women and men, and it's a different beast on both sides. And so, can you tell us a little bit? I mean, you coach girls and guys, but what's it like? Do you get the respect right away, or do you have to earn it? Or can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a girl mom and a boy mom. So it naturally, I think coaching both sides came naturally to me. But I will say coaching the women are more, I feel, connected, wanting that relationship, whereas the guys are more about autonomy. And so for me, I had to find that balance because I like both. I like to have, relationship with the athletes, get to know them, but I also like the player-led mentality of giving them that autonomy while still having, inserting some of my imprint in there. But I think overall for me, I enjoy coaching on the men's side. I love the game.
Mhm.
I love how fast paced it is. I just love everything about it. And it's not that I don't love the women's game, because I do,
Mm.
but it's
Yeah,
just, it's
Sure.
the same
Yeah.
sport, just different game.
Different
And
game.
I
Yeah.
just love it. And I think once I started coaching club on the boys' side, and then got a dose of coaching men at the high school, and then got to college, I was like, I want to stay on the men's side. I really do enjoy it.
Yeah.
So for someone like yourself, you said you played softball and you grew up there, and then you fell in love with the game and you start finding volleyball. How does one become a great coach? What did you do? Did you read books? Did you look at videos? Just how did you become the coach you are today when you first started? Because you're coaching, like you said, you didn't play it. And everyone always thinks, and I'm glad you're on here, because we've had so many different people in different ranges, from coaches to psychologists to players to you keep going on to it. And everyone always thinks you have to be a player to be a great coach. And I've never thought that personally.
Yeah.
I think people that just have it here and here can, if they have that passion. So that was always my thought. And you're a great proof of that. So I would love to just hear how you learned how to start understanding the game and coaching to your philosophy as you went on.
Yeah, I credit it to being brought up in a great household. My dad was a Marine. And so growing up
Semper
in that
Fi.
household that was kind of strict and structured, I think that's where I get that side from. But then also, prior to coaching, I was a human resource manager. And so I'm just used to being around people and helping people. And I think also my personality, I'm I'm a servant leader, naturally. So I think for me, I always see the best in people before I see the worst. And I think that's been beneficial for me in coaching, especially here at UMES. The guys have really bought into the culture and the vision that I have. And I think when you inherit something, it's tougher. And I found that out the hard way when I got my start. But, starting something from the ground up allowed me the opportunity to be my authentic self and bring the vision that I wanted to have for this program, especially being brand new. But I think for me, it started from my roots, my parents. I have to give them all the credit in the world for giving me all the values and tools that I needed to be the person I am today.
Awesome.
I was looking at your roster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. What do you got? 20 plus kids on your
18.
roster right now?
18.
18.
Yeah, we're at the roster limit.
Were they already at school? Are they all like a ton of freshmen? Looks like.
Well, I know she got one of a guy I know pretty well. That was a transfer portal.
Okay.
Or at least a
Yeah.
transfer.
So how'd you get all your kids? I mean, strange because it's brand new, right? Brand new. Did you stay on the East Coast? I'm going to say no, but because you have some people from Irvine and stuff. But was that portal? How did you start recruiting right away and get that full roster?
Oh, it was a roller coaster. I was hired in July, and
Okay.
probably a week later went to AAU, and then was also told at that same time that ESPN was doing a documentary on our program. And I said, "Oh, that's great." And they said, "Oh, and by the way, they're going to be in Orlando following you." And I thought,
pressure.
what?
Some pressure.
Wait, is it published?
Jeez.
Is it out there? We need to
Not
watch
yet.
that.
That's awesome.
Not
Okay.
yet. They're still
Okay.
filming.
Wow.
It's set to air
Really?
in February as part of their Why Not Us series.
Oh, that's
But
cool.
yeah,
All
so I said, wait, hold on, what's happening? So I had a plan initially when I was still at my previous college of specific recruits. So I kind of stuck with that plan, but then shifted because I'm like, this is now Division 1. I want to make sure that I'm looking, more a wider search than what I was initially looking at. Also, location matters.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Central
Mhm.
State's location was not ideal for recruiting versus UMES. We're really close to DC and Philly, and you can sell all those things,
Yeah,
including
right.
a beach. So being at AAU, I went out, scouted, found some kids, set up phone calls probably 2-3 weeks after that, and then scheduled visits. And I brought them in groups on their
Smart.
visits.
Yeah, you don't have that
So
much time.
So,
yeah, it
so,
was quick.
Yeah,
so
I
starting
mean,
a program like that, what are your expectations? Do you plan to win everything? Do you want to
Yeah.
have a 500 record?
What's the
or-
schedule
Dude,
like?
like,
Yeah,
why
yeah,
are you
yeah.
not
Like,
coaching?
what-
Go take down the
Yeah.
Bruins and the Niners.
oh, she's hoping to lose every match, Bear.
Yeah, come
That's
on,
why she got
Bear.
into this.
I don't
I'm
think
saying
those
that. I'm
are
just.
Yeah,
Let's go
do
take
it.
I
a
mean, you got to be a
shall
little
we?
realistic. Sorry,
Come
I'm not trying
on.
to put you on the spot, but
Hey, you know
Yeah,
what?
no, that's a great question.
Thank you.
Most people when they start a program, they don't want to, they don't want to come in too heavy on the schedule, and they don't want to.
Yeah.
But with me, I was like, you know what? I want to recruit athletes that want to come in and win from the jump. I knew we were going to go into the NEC, and it's a strong conference compared to where I came from. So I said,
Sure.
I've got to bring in stronger talent, and I have to make sure we're going to hit the ground running from the beginning. And every recruit that I brought on campus, I told them what my vision was. I told them what expectations were, and they all were like, nope, we've got the buy-in. We're ready to go. And, I joke about it, but in my office I have a whiteboard, and it was like my fantasy board
Sure.
of all the recruits that I wanted to commit.
Yeah.
And I would say
Hmm.
out of all the offers I made, maybe 3 or 4 did not accept, but
Mhm.
the majority of the team that I wanted is here. And so
Nice.
I told all of them, I said, if all these pieces align the way that I believe they will, we're going to be successful. I
Competitive,
truly
yeah.
believe we're going to have a successful season. So to answer your question, Bear, I want us to have a 500 season. I really believe that we can. The way that I set up our schedule this season, it's not really tough. We're going to do that year
Mhm.
2.
Yeah.
We're
so
trying to
I'm
come to the
Okay.
West Coast year
going
2,
to
but
Puerto Rico.
not really tough, but still enough to give us a challenge to get ready for the NEC. And I do think we're going to shake some things up in the NEC and say, hey, here's UMES. We are
Love
ready
it.
to be welcomed into this conference.
Hey,
You got
guys.
February 14th circled as a special one. By the way, that's Central State. She's got them on there.
Right.
So
Hey, guys,
I do.
I want to go over the roster really quick because remember where they're at. So especially the first guy, which is throwing me off a little bit. Bloomington, Illinois, right? Which is 40 minutes for me. I know they don't have boys volleyball. Not sure how you found Jeremy Coleman. We can get into that. But then she's got, I'll just give you the states: Illinois, New Jersey, Georgia, the country of Belize, Ohio, Georgia, Florida, Colorado, 2 more from Illinois, Utah, Florida, Hawaii,
All over the
California,
place.
Maryland, Oregon, Ohio, and back to California, Irvine, California. That is what 10 different states that you did in your first year.
And
That
a
is
country.
unbelievable.
how was that trip to Hawaii? Or did you catch him in Orlando?
No, he
On the
actually was a transfer. He was a transfer.
Okay. So Jeremy Coleman, right? And I'm just picking on him because, like I said, I know Bloomington, Illinois is 40 minutes from me. There's no boys volleyball. How in the world did you find that guy?
He played for Uno Volleyball
No
Club.
kidding.
Okay.
Interesting. Good for him.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, guys, yeah, she's gotten a roster from all over the country to fill this thing to go get her 500 plus wins. That's going to be pretty awesome to watch.
So, first year at Division One, you've been helping boys and men's volleyball grow. What do you see outside of your program in the next 3 to 5 years within your region and area, and maybe some more HBCUs to go into Division One volleyball? How do you see that with the growth in the next 3 to 5 years?
Oh, I would love to see, especially now that I'm on the East Coast, coming from the Midwest.
Yeah.
My view was a little different. Being on the East Coast now, I'm making those connections, Maryland, Virginia, trying to talk to folks and figure out ways that we can partner, connect. But I really would love to see more HBCUs in the MEAC. And I think we're helping the case because, I had the men's volleyball team go support the women's program
Good.
at Hampton when they played at Hampton University. And we walked in and all eyes were on us. They're like, who are these people? And then we went and supported them in their the MEAC championship. And the ESPN commentators said on the call, or on the broadcast, they said, we don't know if this is wrestling. And then they zoomed in and they're like, it's men's volleyball. So it just,
Awesome.
the visibility, just getting out there, letting other HBCUs see, one, we're supporting women's sports, but two, if you already have women's volleyball, it's not going to be much to add men's volleyball. So, and then if we have, look,
We've been saying that
We've been talking about
success,
that for a long time. Thank you.
yeah, it's so frustrating. And then I feel like if we have the success that I feel like we're going to have, then that right there is another case in point of
course,
you can add it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm really
and
hoping
you can have
that.
that. Oh, sorry, keep going.
No, you're good. I'm really hoping that these other schools out here, the other HBCUs, look to add it. I really do.
Well, maybe after your ESPN special and you do what exactly just listening to you and after this, first 30 minutes talking to you, I have no doubt in my mind you're going to take that team to an over 500 record. And, that and the ESPN article and more things written about you. And like you said, see those things that can only help, right, to build more of a case for more HBCUs to want to move to Division I and add the sport. Because like you said, we've said this before. Alan was on here once before, and he even said when he was the first time he was on here, he said, any AD, just call me. I can tell you how to add men's volleyball for pretty inexpensive. Just call me. And because I can tell you how to do it. And it's great to hear that you were able to do that, or the school was able to do it, and that you're getting this opportunity to lead these young men in such a inaugural year for the program, the school, but just to see men's volleyball grow. We just lost Grand Canyon, which was a bummer, but then we get your team and your squad, which is just great. And
Manhattan too.
Manhattan,
right? Yeah.
and
another
UOP.
D1 team.
You're right. University
And
of
UOP's coming
Pacific.
back.
Yeah, and
So-
Morehouse just also paused their program, so that's another
I just saw that,
HBCU.
right? Within the last
Yeah.
See that.
recently. I saw that. I'm
Did
like,
you say they
come
paused
on.
it?
That's what the article says. Yeah, it's unfortunate because they, like the article said, granted on paper, it didn't look pretty, but you did see the progress. And
Yeah.
I think, it's not always linear. So I think people need
Sure.
to understand. And when I say people who make the decisions to remove the sport, I think
Yep.
that they need to also look at the bigger picture and not just look at it from a financial standpoint only.
And that's the hard part. We talked about this for long, and we're not going to go down a rabbit hole because I go all the time down with the NIL and the portal and all of this stuff. But it's a shame to me that I played college sports. I played high school sports. My dad was a teacher and coached high school sports for 43 years. So I grew up in that environment, and maybe not as disciplined as you, being the daughter of a Marine, but pretty darn disciplined with my father. And they say it's always about the kid, but it isn't. I mean, we talked about this the other day about Notre Dame bailing out, not going. I get it. I understand. But okay, maybe the top 10 or 20 guys, I get it. They might go to the end. But what about the other 70 that dreamed their whole life to play at Notre Dame and watch the Newt Rockne films? And they had one more chance to put on that jersey, one more chance to put on that helmet. And the school and the program decided it's not about you guys. We don't care about you. We only care about us because we didn't get the money and the fame. So it's great, to hear you talk about that. And I think if we're going to have college sports, I know it's a business and I get it. But if we're going to continue to have it and they're going to continue to support it throughout the country, they need to somehow go back at least to caring about the student athlete and not pretending to really care about the student athlete. And obviously you can just see it by the actions. And so we just saw that with Notre Dame. That's a perfect example of the kids don't matter. So you're right. We need to get rid of the money, not rid of the money, but put it in the right perspective and really put the children and the young men and women first to be successful in this. This is their experience, and they get it once. We all get it once. We get to go to college once. When you're in that age bracket, you can always go back to college.
Anitra, I think you're in a good spot right now. I really do. And what I mean by that is we had Sarah Conklin on, and Sarah is a huge boys volleyball advocate in the state of North Carolina. And right when she came on, we had it posted that America's third fastest growing in boys high school sports. So the top three, right? Number 3 was soccer. Number 2 was wrestling. And both of them combined was 28% increase. Number 1 was boys volleyball at 76% increase. I can't even tell you what a good spot you're in right now to grow what you're going to grow. And even with the HB colleges that just go, they're going to see what you do, right? And go, holy cow, we have another outlet for these guys. And I think you're right where you need to be. And so I want to just wish you the best out there. I mean, to grow the sport and the timing and the way you've done it, and you got a good story. This is going to be good stuff.
Thank you.
When you put your tactical stuff together with volleyball in general and learning it from the ground up, how did you again kind of start into that? And then do you have Alan I would assume have a philosophy, and probably depending on his personnel, how did you learn all that? And what do you like to do? Fast paced, kind of offense? I'd love to hear how you coach.
Yeah. So when I first started, it would be like putting paper on a wall and just splattering paint. That's what it looked like when I first started. It was
still
like,
do that, actually.
Bear still does it.
You don't see Bear's other wall.
Now that, I don't know, it's been 13, 14 years now. So I think now over the years, I've learned how to manage it a lot better than when I first started. I am more of a defensive minded individual. So defense
wins
is
championships.
my bread and
Control.
butter.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to, I would say for me, like for example, when I hired my assistant coach, I wanted to bring somebody in that was that had playing experience.
Yeah,
I didn't want to bring in,
George Mason, right?
got it. Yes.
Yep.
Shay Cooper. I
Yep.
wanted to make sure I brought in somebody that had recent playing experience, but then also from the offensive side. I'm only 5'6", so not much I can do.
Come on, go up in the middle.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So it's
2
been
bars.
great having Che because, from the offensive standpoint, he's really come in and been able to share insight with the guys from, hey, I just got off the court, and he's still playing. He plays with DC Dynasty. So he's bringing that perspective. But then my side of it is I'm bringing the defensive side of it, but I'm also bringing the side of it like we do chalk talks and we talk about, what's our defensive identity going to look like? What's our offensive identity? Then we talk about our schemes and we talk about, this year we're just starting with 10 play call options. So it's like we talk about those things and just making sure everybody's on the same page, and then understanding that a lot of these guys aren't coming in at the same level. I think for me, I realized it in the fall. I was like, shoot, we're not all at the same level. Skill wise, they're there. But when it came to the knowledge and the IQ piece and knowing the game, I was like, okay, I told my assistant, we're going to have film sessions and chalk talks a lot sooner than I thought we would. But, it paid off for us in the fall. They had a successful fall in terms of the scrimmages. Because if you had asked me how I thought we were going to do up against George Mason or up against Princeton, NJIT, I definitely would have told you, you know what, we're going to go back and watch some film and see what we can do to get ready for spring. But they did so much better than I anticipated that we would. So
I would agree with that. I was at the Mason scrimmages, and I was very impressed, honestly, for a first-year program, what you had built already. So.
Yeah, we've had Tyler Hildebrand on here, and he's a prominent coach now at St. Mary's. And we say this all the time. When we were younger, we would sit with their dad and watch the game, football, basketball, baseball, right? So we would know the game. He's real big on watching professional at a very high level. Even watching a men's offense, which is different than women's, right? But it's definitely getting almost the same. Is he would sit down there with his women's and say, look at the decisions they made. Look at how the tempo is, and look at all the X's and the plays that you're talking about. Still in Division I, it can be just a high ball to a 4 to a 5 and a 1 and maybe a 3, and that's it. Where you're already talking right at all these different plays. So, I mean, just to throw that out there, it's kind of like going back to old school. Go watch some high international game. Go watch the Long Beach State, UCLA. I mean, and they will just take that in as a sponge and go, okay, this is where we need to be. And this is where coach wants us to go. Now I can see it, right? Now I can see it. Now I want to be like those guys. And I think that was instilled in us. And we talk about all the time how the female side, we don't sit down with our daughters and say, hey, let's watch some volleyball. Like even my daughter,
now because it's on TV all the time.
Right.
It wasn't 10 years ago.
But I still have to tell you, even though it's still on, like my daughter, right, plays Division I volleyball right now. Before college, I had to put it on and she'd sit there and watch. But unless I press that button, they had other things to do. And that was generally across the board, no matter where I was at in the country, that if it wasn't put on for them, right? But the guys are different. And so, that's not necessarily a suggestion for you, coach, because you're the head coach. I get that. But it sure was pretty outstanding to hear that from Tyler. Then I just started connecting like, man, we did that when you were younger. And now I know football in and out just because I watched it. So anyway, I just thought I'd throw that out there. I think it's a huge tool that's very much overlooked. But, just maybe put that in your toolbox if you haven't done it already. So,
Coach, can I ask you something? Like,
Yes.
how did the transition from Ohio to Maryland happen? Like, were you on the hunt to move to something bigger and better? And I don't mean
she's
to
like,
disrespect
don't
the
you
Central,
know
but
who I am?
did you get your people out there? And then when the call came, like, hey, we're interested in you, by the way, you got to start a program. You know what I mean? Like, walk us through that. Like, how did that happen?
Yeah. So interesting enough, the athletic director who hired me at Central State, she is the vice president of athletics here at University of Maryland.
Threw out that cat, baby.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, but you know what? If you weren't a good coach or a good person, she wouldn't even consider you.
No.
To start a program?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, to
And
start a program.
She
That's right.
started it at Central State. And so when I found out that it started here, when that post went out, I thought, man, I've lived in Ohio my whole life. I don't see myself living anywhere else.
Right.
And that job posted, and I said, you know what? I'll just apply for the experience. I'll go through, because I
Go through the
thought,
motions.
yeah. And I
You're
also
HR,
thought there's going to be a lot of other people probably apply for it.
Mhm.
And then when I got the call to interview online first, and then to come on campus, I thought, this is about to get real. This is getting real. And then when I got the offer, I talked it over with my family. My son is on the team. My son was supposed to go to Central State.
Transfer portal.
Yes. And, he's class of 2024. So he was supposed to come to Central State. And so I talked to him about it. And I said, it's Division I, Maryland. He was fit to be tied. He was not happy. He was already not happy with me that I took the Central State job because I was his high school coach. He expected me to finish coaching him in high school.
Yeah.
So this kid was not happy with me about that. And then, the Maryland job. But my mom, my sister, I don't have a sister. My mom, my daughters. I'm like, I don't have a sister.
We got her flustered. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm like, hold on. My
I
mom,
have
my
3.
brother, and my 2 daughters talked it over with them, and they were like, yeah, Mom, this is what you wanted to do. Like, we support you. And,
Cool.
that transition initially was difficult because being away from home, finding somewhere to live, and I was like, I'm not used to this area at all. But since I've been here, I've really grown to love the area. I've learned it's just a straight shot to get anywhere. It's a straight shot.
So
yeah.
go back to your son. What made him decide to go and not stay at Central State and go with you like that? Because that must have been a tough decision
Great
for him.
question. Yeah.
He's a
It
setter.
was.
Jordan Brockman, setter, 5'9" setter.
He is, but
Mhm.
you
His
know,
mom's height.
I'm gonna tell you the secret.
Right.
He's actually a really good libero.
Well, I was going to say with the size in the men's
Yeah,
game.
he's really good libero. He's a great setter. He set for me in high school, but he's really good libero. But
You gotta have one of those.
He doesn't like
Here,
libero.
Oh. All right.
Yeah, but little does he know, we don't care what he doesn't like.
Right.
Um,
Coach rules. Coach rules and mom
We're, here,
rules.
we're putting the best people on the court. Let's go.
That's right. And Christmas is
Right.
around the corner.
Right.
So careful, Jordan. Careful.
But no,
that's fun.
he wanted. He told me eventually. He's like, I don't want to be at Central State and then you're in another state and you're by yourself there. And so I think once he also figured out, like I said, you do have to take a gap year because I didn't throw that in there initially.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oopsie.
So I said, you do have to take a gap year. But it actually was beneficial to him because he was able to get acclimated to the area, the campus, classes, and how that works. And then now with this team being here, he actually helped get them acclimated to the campus. And
Oh, good.
so it worked out to his benefit. And I think initially, he wasn't sure how it was going to work dynamic wise. High school's different than
Yes, it
college.
is.
And so
Absolutely.
I don't think he knew how that was going to work. But again, Coach Knight talked to me a little bit about that dynamic. And he talked to me about best practices and how that worked for him and Aiden. And so I think I used that to my benefit. And yeah, he's doing great. He's doing great, fitting in great with the team and loving it.
God,
What does
would
he
love
call
to
you?
get it.
I have to ask.
He calls me Coach.
Okay.
He
Okay.
calls me
Mom?
Coach.
Mom coach.
He calls me Mom when we're outside of the gym, but in the gym
Okay.
he calls me
Down the
Coach.
hall. Mom, we having dinner tonight? Yeah, what?
Hey,
I know.
You call me mom? What?
I might put you on the spot a little bit, but what's your thinking about international players? You said you had a player from Belize.
Mhm.
The league has a ton of international players. It's a little controversial, but I'd like to hear your take on that.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to international. Also keeping in mind I have to stick to our budget,
Mhm.
what I've been allotted, but I'm not opposed to international, but I also have a soft spot for stateside kids like that
Sure.
have worked really hard and want to be seen and want to be part of something growing and new. And so I have a soft spot for them. And I really think with this new landscape, some of these young men and women will get overlooked. And I'm going to keep an open mind when it comes to recruiting and not just have a, one track set of, I only want international or I want kids that are going to come in that are going to contribute and add value to our program.
What's best for your program?
Yeah, I think, and this is my opinion, Coach, is they need to change it immediately and put a limit on it. Again, what I said earlier and what you said, I echoed what you said. If it truly is about the student athlete, if that's what it's about, then stop bringing professionals over here that have been playing in a professional system so you can win the national championship. I understand it. My sons play basketball. My older one's done playing. My one's going there next year. The school he's going to, half his team is from outside the country. It is what it is. Cal State Northridge, my alma mater, and I love Theo. Half his men's volleyball team or more are from outside the country. Limit it like they used to do when we played in Europe back in the days when I was there. It was like you only had two foreigners.
Two foreigners, right?
Maybe give them, what's the roster allowed? 15? You said 8. You have 18. What's
18.
It's
So
18.
18, I think now.
I mean, 4 out of 18, 3 out of 18, maybe you could get from outside the country, and let's put it about. It's like I don't know what the admissions rules are and percentages at your school or compared to Northridge for international students, but I can't think they're letting 80% in or 70% international students in to Cal State Northridge, right? Like it's a state school here in California. So if they're not letting 60% of the students into the school, you shouldn't let 60% of the volleyball players to play on the team. So I love to hear what you say. I appreciate you saying and believing in that, and having a spot for the United States kids that have been battling to play this sport in our system. Hopefully some things change for the better for everyone, right? More growth, more teams, maybe less foreigners. We get a chance to continue to keep better. And we don't want to take the foreigners away. I mean, because this is a great opportunity, and we understand coming to school here is amazing, but I do feel it should be limited.
Yeah, all good stuff. So
real quick before I got another question for you. What's next for you? Like, what, obviously the season's here, but what's the next goal? You're a woman that started coaching high school volleyball. You now are starting a brand new Division I men's program in college volleyball. What's next?
Right now I'm living in this moment of staying in the present of growing this UMES program and wanting it to be successful. I think, they brought me in and I'm on a 5-year contract. So to have that kind of belief in you to grow a program and be given 5 years to do it, that's really what's next for me, is to stay focused on what these next, now I'm down to 4 because year 1 was last year, but what these next 4 years are going to look like for this program. And, I really am focused on getting our program on the map, and not even just nationally because of volleyball, but because of the access to the sport. What we've been talking about all along, growing this sport. And I really think that when the spotlight is on programs like GCU that shut it down, it turns it into a negativity. And so I think if we continue to highlight the growth of the sport, like Pacific just added, us in Manhattan, we continue to highlight that, then I think we'll continue to allow other people to start seeing the benefit of this sport and why we should continue growing it. So that's really what my main focus is over the next 4 years.
To piggyback off of Coley, though, USA Volleyball, do you want to get in that pipeline to do those summer, they go to those summer U20s, U18s or whatever. Do you want to be a part of that pipeline, or would you rather, like you just said, just focus on those 4 years there? Because, obviously there's benefits for you guys, your mentors there, you have different ways to do things and the experience itself. Which... Are you going to pursue that? Because some people are like, no, not my thing, right? But it is a different avenue. So just curious.
It is something that is of interest to me.
Oh, okay, good.
But it's not something that I'm like, I got to check the box and say, I've got to do it right now. I think if I was probably in my 30s, I'm 21, but if I was in my...
Of course.
Yeah,
That's what I thought.
Aren't we all?
Not
Yeah,
a
that's
day
what I
over.
agree with you.
No.
But I also have to be realistic. I think ultimately it's something that I'm not going to rule out. But I think right now my main priority is getting these young men where they want to go. And
for sure. I get that.
Yeah.
Just we talked with Theo out at Northridge, and of course we have Hawks and Al and them, and then they're all in that pipeline. There's just a ton of benefits, but you are starting something brand new. So knowing that we've had those guests, I just thought I'd throw that out there. And
Coach Sullivan too from Springfield, the D3 coach.
Have you talked to Theo at Northridge? Have you ever talked to Theo? You have. He's I love him. He's
amazing. Central State played CSUN my last season there, and we had an amazing conversation. And it was funny. Larry Rather and I are friends, and at Fort Valley, and Larry called me one day. He's like, "Did you listen to the podcast, the one with Rob?" And I said, "No, I didn't get to listen to it today." And he said, "They were on there talking about you. Theo was saying how he had a conversation with you." And so, we had a great conversation because he asked me how I got my start. And he was like, "Wow." He said, I didn't know that. And so I think it's, because I am not someone that is well known, because I've not played and not been
Yeah.
out there in that circuit.
And you're
I
5'6"
think-
too.
Yeah,
I mean,
right,
that's-
right,
no,
right.
I'm just kidding.
We like to look over.
I get to kind of sneak in there during recruiting events, though. I get to sneak
Yeah.
in there. They don't
Little
see me.
libero walking
Nobody
around.
knows who you are. You still.
Right. It's that libero walking around.
But no, it's really been great getting to meet a lot of these coaches. I actually got to meet Coach Sullivan. I was part of USAV's. They had an event in Minneapolis in the summer. I forget what they called it, but it was NTDP. It was like a 1-day type thing. And so I did get to be part of that. And that was really nice because Nick was there, McRae, he was there,
Okay.
Sullivan. So I did get to meet a lot of those individuals and be around them. And I got to kind of get a glimpse of what that was like. So that was fun to be part of that.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
That's great. I mean, what's cool is, Alan and Theo, when Theo came on here, he talked about Alan helping him out. And to hear Alan helping you out as well doesn't surprise any of us because it's who he is. But it's what makes this sport unique, and it's what makes this sport great. You could probably pick up the phone and call almost, because I know a lot of them, but a lot of coaches around this country, and they'd all pick up the phone and talk to you.
Especially on the men's side.
Well,
Yeah.
here's the thing.
Absolutely.
When you're playing against each other, you want to beat each other, right? But outside of that match, we want to help each other and we want everybody to grow. And we're seeing that on your story and people helping you and everything. And
Yeah, Theo said the
world of
same
volleyball.
thing. He says, go try to find 2 women's coaches that are willing to help each other. And they play in the same conference. He goes, you can't name one. He goes, men's volleyball is just different. It's just different. We want to grow this thing. We want to compete super hard. What's working for you? What's not? How do we fundraise? Right? Because women's and D1, they've had the scholarships men up until last year at 4.5. Right.
Yeah.
So
Still do.
yeah, right. And so how do we raise funds and how do we do this and how did you recruit and where'd you get these, and it's been such a nice surprise to hear that from the men's coach. Every men's coach that came on here, including yourself, has said, we've helped each other. They wrapped my arms around me. I've asked them questions. They were honest with me. And I think that's a unique culture, like these guys said. So I think you're part of a really good family and we've got your back. That's for sure.
if anything we can do to help you.
Yeah.
Please
If
let
anything
us
we can,
know.
if you want to come back on, you want to highlight a kid, you've got something going on, get a hold of Dave and we'll get you right back on here and we'll support that. That's for sure.
Thank you.
Boys, you got anything else for the doctor? Dr. Brockman?
No, I just want to say thank you so much. And it like Sully said, it's such a great story and it's unique because you're coaching Division I men's volleyball and you played softball in high school, right? And so to see that's what you're doing, you're starting a program and there's so much fire behind it. It's exciting and we're going to be cheering for you and we'd love to have you on. And when you win that game, that's over the 500th because I know you're going to do it.
Mhm.
That's for sure. We're going to have you on after that one.
Yeah, we're all over you. Just putting it out there. All right,
Okay.
everybody.
That sounds
Thanks for
great.
coming on to this
Anitra,
podcast
thanks for
with
coming
all
on
us
Set the
old
Pipe.
guys.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah.
Thank you
Oh,
guys.
guys, what are you
It was a
talking
pleasure getting to meet all of you, and I appreciate your platform and what you do, and I appreciate you having me on so much.
It's always great to have a 21-year-old on here. It's awesome.
Yes.
See?
It's great.
Different
We don't get those
perspective.
people very often.
For a bunch of old people.